many observer and very efficient observer, academics and people who know the fields, recently the last book of specialists I read about radical Islam shows that many former jihadists have understood that jihadism is not the best way to reach the caliphate long-run goal, but infiltrating the Western society using anti-racism attitude, making alliances with other subversive groups like far left and so on, is a better strategy. And this is the strategy of Muslim Brotherhood. Before, jihadists were against Muslim Brotherhood, saying that they were brothers but too soft, too moderated. Now they say perhaps their strategy that consists in infiltrating, reversing Western values, open society's values in order to conquer it step by step by inside, perhaps it's more efficient on the long run to increase the Islamic community and to make it able one day to conquer the West. It's why it's very important to fight against Muslim Brotherhood. They are more dangerous than jihadists. Jihadists can kill people, but they provocate a reaction against them. But Muslim Brotherhood, by using our value, are very difficult to defeat if you don't understand that the fight is not security, war, repression. The fight is cultural. Schools, education, law, and freedom of speech that must be preserved. And those people, they want to stop the freedom of speech, because they say that if you say your idea against a religion, it's racism. But it's false. The beginning of the freedom in the West was when some heroic people began to criticize Christianism, and people were killed for it. Then the fact of criticizing a religion is a right. And Mr. Macron said it's a right in a democracy to say even bad things on religion. It's a right. It's not racism. Racism is against a race, an ethnic group. A religion is a faith. I think this bill is very important because Islam is a religion, of course, and radical Islamists, they always cover their separatist strategy under the freedom of speech and freedom of belief and freedom of religion. Then the legislation was not able to fight against this Islamic separatism. I think we could, but President Macron understood that he must reinforce the law and the law system, because until now we were not able to face this strange separatism, this strange totalitarianism that was always hidden through religion. This famous collective against Islamophobia, it's something that we must study carefully, and we must not fall in the main radical Islamist trap that consists in making us feeling guilty for something we didn't do. I explain myself. In the West, in America, in England, and in France, and in Germany, Muslims are much more free than Christians in Muslim countries. More than this, some Muslim Islamist radical organizations have more freedom in the West rather than in their own Islamic country. It's false that the West is Islamophobe. This is just a tactic, a strategy conceived many years ago by Muslim Brotherhood in order to justify their totalitarian and separatist project, and to hide it with anti-racism. But we perfectly, all the observers, the secret services, all the smart analysts in the world, and even in Arab countries. I work with people from Emirates, Egypt, Morocco, and even in those Islamic countries, I know high civil servants working on this field that say to me, don't fall in the trap. They are very efficient in feeling the West guilty, because they know that only in the West people can feel guilty. In their country, they could not do it. Then we must be clever. It's right to fight against racism. It's right and it's necessary to fight against any kind of racism. But in this case, it's not racism, it's not Islamophobia. No one is not able to pray in France and in England and in America. It's very easy to pray when you are a Muslim and to go to mosque. No one banned Muslims from going to mosque, but we just want to ban their totalitarian, separatist, and, we must know, anti-Semitic and supremacist project. Radical Islam is not just a conservative way of being religious. It's a plan, it's a project that aims to build universe, a Muslim-submitted universe. They want to reinstore the caliphate in the world and to make Sharia the Islamic law, the only source of law. They want to submit Christian and Jew. They want to kill blasphemers like Charlie Hebdo and to kill pagans. We must know that Sharia is a totalitarian system, and Muslim Brotherhood, they hide this totalitarian project through anti-racism. I think Mr. Macron has understood the reality of the problem and this big internal and not only external threat. It's a good point. Secondly, he wants to build an Islam de France. It's a good point. I know that it doesn't please to extreme right and to some Islamophobic groups, but it's a good strategy because we cannot ask to all the Muslims not to believe. It's not realistic. We must help Muslims to believe, but in a smart way, in a moderate way, and to make understand them thanks to laws and also to education, not repression. Repression is not enough. They must understand that religion must be a private thing. Religion must not and never be the source of politics, because it's the Middle Age. We fought against this. The New West, the freedom, the democracies were built against theocracy, against this Middle Age way of thinking politics through religion. Then Mr. Macron is absolutely right when he wants to build an Islam de France. It will be difficult because Muslim Brotherhood don't like it. They make believe it's racism, it's a religion controlled by the state, it's like a totalitarian state that would decide for the mosque. But it's necessary. I spoke with many leaders in Muslim countries and thinkers, and all they say to me, Islam is moderate when it's obliged to be it. It's like any religion. If you don't limit the power of a religion, it becomes totalitarian. Then it's check and balances. It's John Locke. John Locke was involved in fighting for tolerance, but power must be limited. And like any kind of other powers, Islam must be limited, because Islam is religion and politics. We must accept the religious part of Islam. We cannot accept the political part of Islam. Because if you accept the political part of Islam, just because it's mentioned in the Quran, you will cut the hand, kill the blasphemers, and kill homosexuals and Jews, because it's written in the text. Then we must understand, we must make understand to Muslims, like says Macron, that Islam will be guaranteed and protected as a nice and a French religion, but only on spiritual matters and faith, not on the political side.